guys, July 1st, 2025. We're riding the bike, going to the store, going to stop at Burger King and get an iced coffee. I got an iced coffee left over. I put it in the fridge, little sips of it, and I'll probably finish it up while on the ride. But stop and get a cheap iced coffee at Burger King with my 25% off with Walmart Plus. So it'll probably cost me about $1.94 or something like that. Better than Starbucks, better than Dunkin', even better than McDonald's. So, how you doing? Good. Morning. Got some kind of a business. Cool. But encourage everyone to get out and ride, whether you're going to work, school. Beautiful day in the summer. School, they're like, summer school? Maybe. Some of you got that deal going. You never know. But I'm here. I just left on top of the world on Ocala, Florida. I'm already at the Walmart Marketplace just down the road. I've gone 2.36 miles. Just down the road is Aldi. And the Burger King's right here on the left, pretty much. There's a Starbucks over here, a Taco Bell, anywhere I want to stop. I've got my bike that has a milk crate zip tied to the bike rack, so it's on there good. I have another bike that I use for fun riding. This is a towny step through, so if the milk crate gets too heavy and I get a little wobbly, I can just kind of step down and not have that bar hit me. And the other bike's a Verve 2. Oh. A Verve 2. It has a bar, but it's a low, it drops right at the seat. So you can hop down and not worry about getting hit with the bar. So when you get a little older, you're not as stable as you were when you were a kid doing wheelies, riding with no hands and doing anything crazy you feel like doing. When you get a little older, you gotta be a little more careful. And I tested a bike at a Trek dealer here in Ocala, and it had the bar across, and I just kind of hopped off the seat and I hit the bar right away. And I was like, oh, that was smart. And I was thinking right away, maybe I don't want a bar. But I already had the Town. They got the step-through design. It's great. It's a little heavier, and the Verve's is less than the Townie. But when I added my double locks, and a lot of you will be like, I ain't doing double locks. I'm doing one lock. God, get the. You see my locks on videos. A decanter or something like that. It's a chain lock. I've got an orange one. It's 4.25 feet, I believe, instead of the smaller one at 3.75. I found that to be too small. I was having trouble locking up to low racks, and I needed the 4.25 just for that. I've got a little bag up front, and I keep the lock in. You could wrap it around the seat. Just you got to make sure it's not going to get loose and drop down and hit a tire or something like that. But you could wrap it around a seat if your bike's built right for it. Or your bike rack, rig up something where you lock it pretty tight where it doesn't go anywhere. Or if you put a milk crate on the back and have that look. But I like having double bikes because the Verve's a lot funner to ride because it's lighter weight, even with my two locks on it. It's just it's quicker, it's easier to ride. And I could always go to Goodwill or find something on Facebook Marketplace that's even lighter, where I could put one lock on it. If it's cheap enough, I wouldn't care. That's the way. And I'd only have one lock to deal with. I've seen people that put their locks around their neck when they ride or have a backpack. The problem with backpacks is they get sweaty. But if it's cool weather, you're not going to be too worried about that. And if you're going to work, a lot of people that go to work on bikes, commuting, plan for rain, plan to change clothes, have dry socks, work shoes, stuff to wear at work there. And maybe take the car on Friday and load up all that dirty clothes or whatever you got in the knapsack. You can bring it back with you. If you get a little sweaty, go in the bathroom, rinse off. I found a neat thing to do a quick rinse if I get a little sweaty, but we're going somewhere real quick. I just use there's a handheld face scrubs. They have little tiny bristles on them, little bristles. There's a head to the curve. Little bristles, they're real soft. They're real, just palm of your hand size thing with a little hook on the end to help grab with your fingers. And I'll just, you're supposed to scrub your face with it. It gives you a nice gentle scrub. Well, you just put a little soap on it under the arms, put a towel in front of the sink, put the hand towel, the back of the seat over the handle so it doesn't splatter too much, and clean the mirror real good when you're done in case you splatter, which you probably will. But you scrub a little with some soap under the arms, or warm water. You rinse with some warm water, rinse, keep scrubbing, rinse. Dry it off, boom, put a little deodorant on. I have a special, some of that aluminum free stuff that doesn't work quite as well, but it's great to use after a quick scrub because I feel like I'm contaminating my good deodorant. The Old Spice or the Axe or something, one of those guys. So, and then you put on a clean shirt, fix your hair as best you can, wet it and then give it a quick dry back, or got some styling gel or something, because if you're wearing a bike helmet, your hair's messed up. Or you'll have a shorter cut, then it always looks the same. But some people don't like that. They like to have some kind of something going on. Biggest advice on styling gel is don't put it in the roots. Don't put it near the roots. They say that it works best when you do that. I'm sure it does. But you'll clog out your roots. You'll kill the hair root. You'll close up, get dirt in it, and that gook. I mean, think of that gook on your hands you're washing off every time you do that. Just don't do that. Get it on the ends of the hair, style it best you can, and you're good. Create a look. But try not to hit the roots, because you're gonna choke out your roots and your hair's gonna fall out faster than your heredity. It might fall out. It might get a little thinner and you'll be like, why is my hair so thin? Because you're choking it out. I get to a point now that I only use styling products when I go out places. My wife's like, we're going somewhere. I'm like, okay. And sometimes I'll use it, sometimes I won't. Depends on where we're going. If we're going to Sam's, because we don't have a Costco or BJ's here. We're going to Sam's here in Ocala. But they sent me an ad for Sam's, 47 miles away. And we were going to go there just to go to Sam's. I was like, nah, they're trying. But if they get a lot of responses, I know they'll be looking at Ocala like we're the next thing, and I'm sure they will be. I'm sure Sam's is next on the list. And Costco is just waiting. They're just looking at Ocala, Florida, like, about 10 more years. After that, Sam's gets in there and people get used to that. And maybe they open a new area in Ocala, which is the hot new spot. That starts growing, boom, they're gonna come in. Because they probably wouldn't do it here where we are at the top of the world, because they'll be finishing development in about 10 years. Stone Creek, and they'll have already started new developments, probably somewhere else that's not quite as close by to all these stores. There'll be new stores built, new Publix, new Walmarts, new Dunkin' and Starbucks, all that stuff will have to be around. And that's my thing for the villages. You go to the villages and you're near those town centers, great. If you like that, that's great. But if you got to do 20 roundabouts just to get to the town center, and it's 83 miles long, the villages goes on forever. If you're not near the town center and you're like getting the golf cart, you have to get the motorized golf cart as opposed to electric, or if you get electric, you got to get the big battery, because hey, you got a lot of traveling, you got a lot of paths, it's neat, they're neat. Some people like it, some people hate the heat and decide, 20, 30 minutes on the golf cart. I get in my car and get there in 15, call it a day in the air conditioning. And so, but there are some benefits being in the villages like that. Being your regular doctors, not, you made your surgery, you got to go somewhere, or see a specialist, you'll have to go somewhere. But you got stores and things, but you don't want to be locked down to those stores. Like Publix is pretty expensive. If you're near a Whole Foods, that's pretty expensive. But an Aldi or a Walmart marketplace is a lot cheaper. And if you get used to a few of the things at the Aldi, you'll be like, hey, this is much cheaper. It's off-brand, a lot of it. And sometimes they have regular brand stuff. But you get used to that and you check the dates, and you're like, hey, this is good. We get low sodium turkey And I was at the deli at, I think, Walmart Marketplace, and I asked for a low sodium turkey, and they'd given it to us before. She goes, oh, we don't have that. Like, they never had that. And I was like, what? Now, they might have had it, and they just might have been out, and just the way she said it implied that. But, you know, because if it tasted pretty good, it probably had salt in it, right? And your doctor's like, cut back on the salt. I'm like, okay. So I just get average food. I just like, okay. So we go out to dinner, and I'll say, low salt. They're like, okay. And I eat it, and I'm like, man, that was really good. Oh dear, it's got too much salt, or probably garlic. That helps if you're at some places. They throw garlic in. A little touch of pepper is all right. But butter, sugar, salts. You get the olive oil butter instead of the milk-based butter when you get older. And they're good. They're good enough. They have that taste. So staying healthy, riding your bike, going to the store, saving some gas money. Gas gets expensive. Don't complain about gas. Get you a nice bike. You know, a cheap bike is fine to start with, but eventually you save some money. You say, I'm going to go to the dealer and pick up a real bike for $1,000 or $2,000. I'm not going to get a $15,000 carbon bike, but I'll get aluminum. I'll get an aluminum bike like I had when I was a kid. And my Verve too. I think it is all aluminum. I don't think they have the carbon fork. It might. I'm trying to remember to give it a little less weight. But so don't do any wheelies and hopping curbs with a carbon fork, because technically it's plastic. And the sun in Florida is pretty hard on plastic, theoretically. So, but I'm sure it's different, a little different, but still, I would be leery. But if I had the money, yeah, I'd get a $15,000 bike for the fun of it. But then I'd be scared, what if I lock it up? Because everybody that sees it will be like, damn, that's one of those big bikes. Let's get the angle grinder out. We can cut through it in about another minute. Change the blade. And they'll take it. And if you come out and challenge them, they might hurt you. You could video them, you could show the cops, they'll be like, okay, we'll keep an eye out for it. Maybe it'll be on Facebook Marketplace. And you're like, yeah, if something like that expensive, they've already found a market somewhere else for it, or broke the parts, started selling the parts. Look at this nice gears, this, and this, and all of a sudden, then they sell it. Then you find your frame online for several $1,000s. You're like, shit, that's my bike, because I put a little nail polish right here. I had to touch up something, and I can tell by that little stripe I put on it, that custom little look from a distance. I can still tell it's mine. Yeah. Oh dear. So riding's good. You know, where was I? 2-point-some miles riding down here. I'm just circling around the back of the Walmart Marketplace talking to y'all, so there's no traffic. 3.42 miles. Getting miles in, maybe. You get miles in, you just walk in circles. It's like people that go to the track near a school or so, they just walk the track. That nice soft ground's the way to go. I mean, I walked this morning a mile, but it was on, I didn't walk on people's grass in their yards. So I was walking around the block, circling until I hit a mile. And, but I was on the road, facing traffic, in the neighborhood. So, no, I don't think I had a single car pass me. It was like 7 in the morning. It was neat. The sun was just coming up. It was 70-some degrees, just 72 or something here in Florida. See, that's the trick. In Florida, it's hot. It's hot. It gets hot and humid, especially Ocala, but it is breezy in Ocala. And someone said, yeah, they think it's because we're in the middle and we get the breezes from the East Coast and the West Coast, so we always have, it feels like a little breeze all the time. I mean, I don't see if we can see it. And these trees look like they're moving. Just a touch. Just a touch, they're moving. Yeah. There's a little breeze in Ocala. It's nice. So it's becoming more of a hot area. We went to the World Equestrian Center, which is a huge draw. That was amazing. I was like, dang, that's something. That's gonna. And I've seen videos online of what it looks like at Christmas. So we're going at Christmas for sure. Taking the daughter and son-in-law and the little baby, and we're gonna be walking around and checking things out. But yeah, that's something. That's something they built there. And you know, if you have a garden show that comes to your city, they did a garden show back there. They have buildings in the back. Here comes a big truck. Let's get way out of the way. That's something bright where he wants to turn around. He's good. He's leaving. But they have other buildings, and some are like horse training showing areas with giant building. And I'll put a little video of a horse doing the little dance, these are the kinds that can dance a little bit. Just a clip of that online. And that was one building. And there was another one on the other side. They're building other hotels out there. They had buildings way back in the back where the garden show was that were just these giant buildings that held events. And I was like, wow, this is something. So it's a huge draw for Ocala, the horse capital of the world. And when I used to drive through when I was a kid, it was just crazy. It was just a place for bugs to hit your window as you went through all these pastures on the left and all on the right. And they were mostly horses. You know, you'd see a little bit of odd cattle or goats or donkeys or something, but mostly horses. And you're like, oh, what's the deal? But it was just something to drive through to get to Orlando from Charlotte, North Carolina. And when we were young, that was an easy, you know, we just drove. No big deal. When we moved down here, we went to Spring Hill first, Florida, a little too close to the coast. Too many big storms came up, and we were a little worried. We were okay. All the storms came and went, and there was minor cleanup. And when we were exploring, one of the videos showed one of the ladies that was selling houses showing the aftermath of the storm that went through Ocala, and they were already cleaning up this area. And it's still Stone Creek are on top of the world, one of those areas with the golf cart paths. They were clearing them out already first thing in the morning. And there wasn't that much, it wasn't that bad. You know, you could get around. I mean, I was living in Charlotte when Hugo went through. We were out of work, we were out of power. It was crazy. And Hugo went up into the mountains. And you know, poor little Asheville, you talk about, well, hey, we could retire to Asheville. Nice city, nice small town. It gets wiped out sometimes by flooding and fires, and they've got bears, right? We got bears here in Ocala. We do. The usual coyotes. I think there's some mountain lions around if you get too close. And we haven't had any reports where we live because we're kind of in the middle of them. That's the other trick. You get a bunch of houses around you, and you're in the middle, so there's not too many chances of a coyote coming by. But it could happen. It happened in Spring Hill because they were just clearing out an area across the street for houses. So all those woods got wiped out. And I guess all the wildlife was searching for food, places to eat, shelter. So this coyote, he looked kind of skinny too. He came through the back of our yard. I took a video, or a picture. I just took a picture, I think. But sent it to my wife. I said, hey, wake up, look at this. So we have to always kept the cat off the lanai unless we were watching him. Or hey, he had a quick way in, you know, the door would be slightly open so he could zip in. Because, you know, something like that would rip through a lanai in a heartbeat. But I think I've bored y'all enough. Bored you enough to get out. If you had rode as much, and I'm not riding hard, I'm just sitting my butt on a bike. And if your butt hurts, you stand up. You stand up and you coast around. I love going down hills. I mean, I'm not a bike racer. I'm not a cyclist with the spandex and stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. But at my age, it's more about the fun. It's more about the need for saving a little money, the need for getting some exercise, getting your butt up and doing something, walking or something. So it's not a big deal. For me, just biking is biking. But it does get you out moving your legs. Don't forget your lightweight weights to exercise, not over the head for seniors. To save your shoulders, don't do that. But you can do curls and squats, and you could hold a small weight and do a squat. Just make sure you got a place to fall if you're not used to that. You know, you can hang on to stuff. If you're starting out, you've never hadn't done a squat before, you better have a place to go backwards and collapse without busting your head open the first time, because you'll be surprised. That's difficult when you haven't done anything and you're hitting 60 something. That's a surprise, a little shock. Tried doing push-ups. You hadn't done push-ups in 20 years. Trick with that is don't do it sideways like this. You know, with your elbow out. You got to do it elbow back. Maybe a little flare, but back. Because, I mean, when I was young, 20, 30 years ago, I did push-ups like this. Thought I was being hot. Hadn't done them in a while. And I can do push-ups, push-ups. And something cracked in my neck. And when I heard online, when I was looking at senior push-ups, and they said, don't do this, I went, oh, that's me. I screwed it up. But yeah, they recommend wall push-ups. When you get good at that, counter push-ups, you start slow. You know, if you see a guy online telling you do 10 reps twice, do what you feel comfortable with and build up as best you can. That's all you gotta do. Don't overdo it. Kill yourself. Just gotta do some on the wall or on the counter, just pushing down. Don't hold it and strain yourself. You know, I don't want you to have a heart attack or anything. Just take it easy. You know, just do a few and say, I was all right. Do a little squat if you can do a squat. Hang on the counter, squat down. Get back up a little bit, just like sitting in a chair, but then slowly rise down, slowly rise up. If you can do it once, try it again. Hopefully in a month, you'll be doing it a couple more times. You know, that's just the thing. You go out walking, I can barely get to the mailbox. Good, go to the mailbox, damn. Get there and get back. And then maybe when the night cools down, see if you can go to the mailbox again. Look like a senior citizen that's forgotten whether they check the mail or not. Go check the mail or just walk over, look at like you're picking something across the street up. You know, do it twice. A couple of weeks, do it again and again. Go down the street to the end of the block, come back. You know, it's stuff like that. Always know a cut through. You're zipping around the block, fine. But if you know, okay, this house, my house is cut through right here between all these houses, I can cut straight through if I feel like it and head straight on. I'll suddenly get tired or overheated, gotta go to the bathroom, anything. You know that right around that corner, you can just cut through someone's yard, and that's when you don't care about going through someone's yard. And you just cut through and get to your house. If they say anything, it's all right, just keep going. Don't stop to talk. Just keep going and get in the house. Have your water already sitting there. I usually drink it at room temperature. That way it doesn't is shock to your system. Because I got nosebleeds years ago when I worked at that hot dry cleaners. You'd get some ice cold water in you, all of a sudden your body's heated up already from work, and it's 100 degrees in the building. And then you drink ice cold water and you're like, what in the world was that? And you find out later it's kind of a shock to the system. It's not like the Swedish people when they get hot in the sauna and then jump in the ice water and it's good for them. You know, you can do that in the shower. I sometimes do a little bit of that. Hey, car. You do a nice warm shower, then you cool it down. You cool it down a little more and just get it to that point where it's a little, and that gives you a little shock to the system. That gives you the little Swedish effect. You're getting a little bit of that. They live forever. You figure that must be good for you. Plus, it closes up your pores. You know, I do it with the head, around the heart. Give it a little, whew, okay, I'm up now. But you take a nice warm shower, you're just like, you're ready for bed. You know, you're ready for bed. So we gotta go. We've been doing this forever. Okay, I gotta go to Burger King. And then I go to the store. Aldi opens at 8:30 here, so it's past 8:30, so I'm gonna hang out at the Burger King, get my coffee, go to Aldi, get stuff, and then ride back home, and I gotta mow grass. All right, like, subscribe, and share. You know the deal. Bye.